Hello, so today I'm reviewing, well, I have reviewed, now I'm just recording my reviews against your game against AndTheySay, particularly the map on Ilios. So the first thing to notice is the comp difference. Obviously they've gone with the Widowmaker, the dive tanks, and the Brigitte, whereas you have gone for the standard meta composition. Well, the double shield meta composition, which very soon won't be meta anymore, due to the incoming patches, but I'll talk about that separately. So you got to think about when you're picking a comp, you got to think about what you can do to win. Like, what's your win condition here? Obviously, you don't know what they've got yet, but you might have an idea. You probably got an idea that they're playing Doomfist and Widow, just because Svenko's a Widow main, and Widow's quite strong on this map normally. So in this matchup, we definitely have better point presence with our tanks. So we've got more sustain. Also, our ult economy should be better because one, we've got the beat. They don't really have a defensive ult. I don't think rally counts. We've got the combo of Moira and Orisa, and then we've got two strong DPS ults in Reaper and Doom. Whereas they've got, their tank ults can be good in area denial. And if you let Winston boot you off the map, he will. But beyond that, they don't really have any combinations. They've got Rally, they've got Coalescence, but nothing really goes with them. Whereas we've got much better... Like, we should be able to win a fight just by using two ults quite easily. Whereas they're going to have to get big value out of each of their ults in order to win a fight.
Capture the objective.
So here, you're taking this path on the left side, which I think is good. It's really good because the Widow's probably going to be up here, right, on this platform. So you're denying her sight lines, basically. If you come down the middle or even go right, it's going to be much easier for a Widow to attack you, which you should anticipate on this map. So going this way is really strong. The one thing... So I'll let it roll through. So ball rolls through you here, that's fine. I don't think there's much need to chase him because I think you get him down to like half health, but as soon as you do, he's just going to fill right back up with a bunch of shields. So you're not going to get much value from chasing him. I think the more attention you pay to ball, the more value he can get often. Because his main thing is like disruption. So this is okay. First thing, this punch is really risky. So I'll roll it back a little bit more. So I don't know if it's because of the Doom or because you see the Winston jump up. But punching out here, when you know they have a Widow, is quite dangerous. It also just exposes you. And the main thing is, like, if you're punching in this straight line through the door, where's the wall you're going to punch them into? Like, there's something way back here, but I don't know if they'll get hit that far. So is that like a good value punch? Especially Widow's up here, so she could have domed you. Luckily she misses, but yeah. So now Orisa drops here. Do they do it by choice? I think they do. Yeah, so I'm assuming Lendario makes the call to rotate to point. But now if you do that, if you'll jump down, you're gonna surrender this high ground, which is quite good for Monkey. So if like, and also Doom can use it, like if he goes in and then uses that to escape, that's quite good for him. So I think you're just rotating to point automatically because it's unlocking in 3 seconds. But I'm not sure that's a good move positionally because as you can see, when the monkey jumps in, he's getting loads of value off this high ground. And even though you pull him off, normally when a monkey gets, say he jumps in, right? When he gets his jump cooldown back, normally he has to go out because he's still right in the middle of you. But he jumps in, uses his bubble. That's the bubble, by the way. And then you break it. And then he can just jump right on back up and get more cleave and just chill there because you guys can't really do anything about it. And now you're just all, you're not really on the point even. And you're all just huddled in this corner. Monkey's just getting free zap onto anyone he wants. It's going to be easy for the Brig and the Moira to rotate to point, and meanwhile Doom is probably going to get free punches when you try and come out. And Widow's just chilling, there's not much pressure on her even. Also, really you kind of go off on your own a little bit. And I'm not really sure why. So you go for a big, oh, okay. So who are you trying to punch there? So you try and punch in, and then you get stunned, and then you're dead. Which is unlucky. But yeah, some of these punches are a little bit over aggressive. You can afford to be a little bit more patient, you know, like tranquilo, tranquilo. But yeah, that's fine. But you can see here we're kind of in a mess here. They've got so much. They've got all this space. This is like their space, and then we're just like trapped in here on the low ground, not even on the high ground. They've got free Widow sight lines. Their Doom can punch wherever he wants. The Monkey can hop up here. The Bull can do whatever he wants, get huge pile driver damage. The Brig can probably just run here and start whacking you, and there's still not really anything you can do about it. So it's really the positioning that lost us this fight. And I think sometimes our positioning as a team is questionable. Now that might come from bad decisions by individuals, such as maybe a mistake to drop down in the first place, or it might come from like a lack of an in-game leader saying, right, this is what we're doing, and like having a clear vision and ideas behind it, rather than just going, okay, it's it's 3 seconds to point unlocks, let's drop onto point. Thinking, hang on a second, is it good to give up the high ground here? We've got better sustain, maybe we can afford to draw them onto point and stretch the fight out longer. Because they're not going to cap either, you know? If you're sitting on that high ground, peppering them with Sigma, Orisa, Reaper going in, what are they going to do? It's not like the Monkey can sit on point and survive that, you know? You can afford to get picks before you try and win the fight. So think about that. Think about when you want to sacrifice your positioning on the objective in order to get value in the team fight. So there's not loads to say here. We just made the mistake by playing inside this area. This is all okay. It's again probably the right decision to rotate through left. We should be ready for their ults. So, what I would suggest here, given that we lost the first fight, and also not just that we lost it, but the fight went on quite a long time, right? So they had a lot of time to build their ultimates, and we've got to anticipate that they're going to have ultimates online now. Like we've got to know they've got Monkey, they've probably got Ball. Widow doesn't really matter, but we know they use Coalescence, but they basically got 5 ults, whereas we've only got 1. Grillo's like we've got 1, and then Grillo's is nearly there, but that's not enough to win a team fight really. So we've got to go in like fast, try and force the fight like at least before 40%. Really, we could have, if we'd have died quicker in the last fight, we could have done that earlier. But also go in, try and get a pick or 2. If you get a couple picks, then you can maybe commit beat if they come back with other ults. But unless you get picks, there's no way you're winning this fight. So just go in, try and force them to use ults, because if you get 5 people on point here, as soon as you get there, they're gonna start going, oh shit, let's go in, let's use our ults. Monkey's gonna primal rage. They're probably gonna use Hammond ult. Brig might even rally if someone gets low. And if you threaten the Doomfist, he's gonna use his ult to survive. So you can force a bunch of ults here just by going in, and then you don't have to use beat to do so.
Personne n'échappe à mon regard.
So just after Hammered ults, we use beat. I think it's quite ambitious thinking that we can survive this with beat, but like look how close together we are. We're all in this tiny area, and his bombs are gonna rain down on that, right? So sure you can think, oh, there's a lot of damage coming into us, we can get value from beat here, but really, are you gonna survive it? Because even if you do survive, your shields are gonna be low, you're trapped in a corner, and they've still got like 3 or 4 more ults to use. They've just used 2 ults, so that's already kind of a win for us. It's 38% and they've used 2 ults. If we keep fighting like without ults, they might even use 1 more, and then we die, and that's a win. Then we come in with like 5 or 6 ults in the next fight. They've got it to 50% maybe, or 55. We win that fight, and then it's an even game basically. So I think this was a little desperate, and you know, now exactly the same thing has happened. We've all died quickly. The only thing is that we've used beat, and we've given like their Moira a little more ult charge. Like that, we've really achieved very little by using beat there. So when thinking like, is this a good time to use beat? You don't always want to think, are we going to get value in terms of, are they going to do a lot of damage? You got to think, are we going to win this fight? And I think, Doctor, I think you have the capability to do that just by yourself even. And if you guys are ult tracking well, you I think, you know, you've got a good mind for the game, and you should be able to see whether it's possible we're going to win this fight or not if we use beat. So if the answer is no, I almost never want you to use beat. There's very few occasions where you should use beat if you're not going to win the fight, because it's one of the best ults of the game, and you only want to use it when it's going to enable you to win. So now they only have primal, right? They used all their other alts. Maybe they wouldn't have used Rally if we didn't beat. Maybe they'd have Rally still. But even if they had Rally and Doom, they were still always using. They still used those other two before we beat. They might have used one more. And I think we could like run down here or down here, drop the beat, and just pile onto point or like push the Moira and the Widow. Even just run down one of the tanks when they use cooldowns to get in. But if we use beat to engage here, it's like really positive, and it really gives us a good opportunity to win the fight, rather than using it reactively against a couple of ults that we might not survive anyway. So this is kind of unlucky. So you get uppercutted, and then you get shot by the Widow, who's back here. Now there are a couple things you could have done to survive this. Now I don't know if you knew how quickly you're going to get burst down, but one is I'm not sure if you have your rock here, but you probably should be able to stun the Doom with your rock. I can't really see that well. The other thing is having your shield. I think this is your shield here. Having it there isn't giving you much value. So if you'd have had it like on cooldown, if you didn't have it up, then you would have been able to like quickly project it up when you get punched. The other thing is your kinetic grasp you could have used to save yourself, your absorb. Dying there is really bad for us because now, once we regroup, we're only really going to have one fight, which makes it really hard to win. So that was a really good follow-up. Obviously, Evil did well to get the Hammond that low, and then it was a really good follow-up, I think, by Sigma and Doom to burst down their ball. Unfortunately, they get a pick on our Lucio, and then Moira gets value out of Coalescence, so... And then you just all decide to stand next to the edge of the map and get fucked by the Winston. That's a Monk-ass fade. Right there, Evil. That's unlucky. Yeah, there's not really much more to say about that. I just think using beat was a mistake. The first fight we could have won. It's quite important to win. But we didn't because we messed up our positioning. So you can see it's just like, it's not necessarily that the comp was wrong. You could have won with that comp. It's just I don't think we really played to our strengths. Now I've done a whole like when I did that thing about the phases of a team fight, like a flowchart. I've done a whole thing like that about picking a good composition, and I'm going to go through it in a separate video.
4, 3, 2, 1.
So we get booped here. Again, I think you can get your rock off here. Like, if you see the ball, charge your rock. Also, you maybe could have let Orisa tank it. Unfortunately, you guys rush in and she gets stuck on a tree. But you can imagine if Orisa stands in front of the ball, uses Fortify, and then you stun him with your rock or really gets a punch on him, then that's the win. Whereas this is basically a lost fight right here. And here your positioning evil's just bad. Like, I know you probably don't see him coming because you're trying to heal your team, but like just standing in this doorway in general when they have a ball is kind of asking for it. Like you could be in the corner more, healing your team, or even over here more is better, healing your team. Standing just there is just bad. Like why do you need to be there? Isn't it better for you to be like in the corner anyway? Because then you get value from the shield that's here. You're not peeking from this angle. Here you're just kind of in the open and the ball punishes you for it. So at this point the fight really is lost, so I'd be thinking like jump off the map, get out. Like Grillo gets a good trade on Doom, but obviously by that point the fight's way lost. So we just kind of, again, we gave the first fight to them with poor positioning, and they punished us. So it's not like they're playing crazy good or they're just better. It's just we've made silly mistakes in the first fight, and once you lose the first fight on a King of the Hill map, you only have a 30% chance of winning that round. They have like a 70% chance of winning after winning the first fight in King of the Hill. So that's giving them a really big head start. But it's also really fixable. It's literally just little positioning errors. This is quite nice. Again, I think our rotation here is pretty good. Denying them the high ground. Here ball, so he's going to pile driver. So I think as soon as you see him go up here, I'd probably retreat back into the room because there's no way he's getting his balls into the room. Our other option is to try and drop down super fast, but seeing as we've just used Orisa shield, that's not a very good option. So I'd just run back into the room and then you can just break the balls. I think it was kind of naive for us not to expect that he was going to do that when you saw him go up here. Maybe you didn't know that rollout, but now we're all caught in a big net, basically. And then I think Sigma, you sort of just walk into the balls there. But yeah, we could have just retreated and then dropped down if you wanted. So another micro error in positioning and we lost the fight. Like, there's not really much to say about the macro game or meta interaction here because you're not really giving it a chance, you know? Like every other fight we're making a silly error in positioning and it's just giving them a free win. This rotation, again, I don't know who's calling our rotations, but they're really good. I really like them. Like coming all the way around here. And then what you want to do is speed onto the Orisa probably. But that's really nice. You totally duped them. But now we kind of slow down a bit and kind of chill here, and then the ball gets time to roll through us. So we just got to be a little bit more authoritative, a little bit more confident and aggressive. Because like we shield here, and that's okay. But if we just kept running onto her and shield like behind their shield, then they're gonna really struggle to keep their Orisa alive. So I think our positioning there was good, but we kind of lacked a real like focus. Like it seemed we didn't seem to have a plan of what we were gonna focus down. Like this comp, it contains a lot of different parts. Like they've got the ball, Reaper and Doom, and the Orisa and Moira, and then the Lucio. Like if you can take out like one of those chunks, then it's gonna be a lot easier. Also they just get more because of their Moira's positioning. You see how she can see like the whole of their team and the whole of your team, whereas you, like your Cone Evil, you can only really see the Orisa and their team. So they're just getting more value from the Coalescence due to positioning. And then you rotate down here, which again, it doesn't give you as good a view. Like all of your team is behind you basically, or half of the team. So then you can see how they can like see the whole battlefield. So just think about that. Normally your coalescences are really good, but they did just get more value from coalescence here because of the positioning. It's much better towards the end of it. You're back here and you can see the whole team. And that's much better. Yeah, I think that's basically all I had for this fight. They have Bongo and we don't now. So there's not really... Like, we have a window there where we might be able to win the fight when we beat. But there's not really a target focus going on here at all. And if we'd have got another pick there during the beat, we might have been able to win. But given their ult economy... And we lose the Moira and that's GG. But that was okay, there's some good things there. It's just we keep losing due to bad positioning on occasion. So I want you guys to think about that in your scrims.
Five, four, three, two, one.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, this rotation's decent. There's nothing wrong with it. I like how aggressive you are. Like you don't. Like this rotation's really good, and that shield. This shield, Pogu, because you stop the orb getting any value. That's really Pogu. And I love the way you go around and like hop into them, Lendario. Like this rotation here. Like it's just like, yeah, yeet. And look how panicked they are, you know? Suddenly they're like, oh shit, these guys are all over us. The Orissa's way out of position. Look where her shield is compared to where she is. The Doom, sure, he's in a good position. But the Lucio's like separated from his team, probably going for a boop. But then Dario starts to go sicko mode and gets like 3 big pulls off, and you win the fight. So there's one. They get a boop, which I think we could have been watching that. Either Doctor, you could have maybe been looking out for the Lucio, seeing as you're staying with your team and not going into their backline to go for a boop. You could have maybe booped the Lucio away, or like been calling him out, and then Wowmy could have got a rock off onto him, I think. That, again, this is another little error in positioning from you, Evil. So just standing in this doorway, you could have been here, or maybe even like anywhere in this area is better. And then when you hear the sound cue of Doom charging up his punch, you could have been more ready for it, whereas instead, you didn't really react. So you use your fade, so you don't have fade, which means you need to be really careful with positioning. It's like if you're playing Anna and you use your sleep dart, or your sleep dart and your nade, you're gonna be like crouching behind the wall, like, oh shit, like you're probably like tucked in here or something, or like maybe behind this pillar in this area here. But you don't want to be giving them any line of sight really, or maybe because a couple of them are here, you want to be like round here and then spraying your pee on your team like this. But you don't want to be just standing here without your fade. That gives them a big advantage now because their Moira's still alive. But thankfully Lendario gets another pull here. Bang. And then another one on the ball. Yeah. Look at that. That's pure juice. And that's really good. That's a nice swivel you did on the Doom to kill him, Grillo. I've been really impressed with your Reaper play. So that's it. We win the first fight, and guess what? You guys go on to do really well in the map. It cuts off at the end, but I'm assuming you won. Although, you know, I'm never certain. Sometimes we throw fights away. But I'm pretty sure we win at the end here. But yeah, Lendari, that first fight was just really good from you. The one thing I will say is something I've noticed is often we rely a little bit too much on like individual play. And it's not always Lendario. Sometimes, like often it's Ruli or Grillo or Evil. Like sometimes we rely on really good individual play and like playmaking to win fights rather than just playing really well and solid as a team. So we need to work on that a little bit. We need to just be more compact and better as a unit. Now that might be because we need a stronger like voice, like more of an in-game leader, like someone more commanding. Someone needs to step up and do that, or it might just be our discipline in playing as a team and focus fire and stuff like that. But either way, we just need to work better as a team and rely less on individual players. And it's all of us, like, step up sometimes. Like, Doctor gets a huge play, or wow me, like, it can be anyone, but I don't really want that to be our game. Like, we're just waiting for someone to pop off. I want us to be able to win, like, just by everyone doing their job. Like, no one necessarily has to pop off. If everyone does their job, we should win. And that comes down to me as well, like designing comps that enable us to do that. This is okay right now. So you're coming up to, you're gonna have beat in 4 seconds. So are you gonna beat now or are you gonna hold it? We've traded basically. That's a little, it's picky as fuck, but that's a little bit late, I think. Because by the time your beat goes off, now we're 1 down. We've lost both our DPS, so it's going to be really hard to come back into the fight. I think if you beat like as soon as you get it, because you don't have to decide like when you get it. You can be thinking here, like as soon as the fight before ends, okay, I'm 80 to beat. I'm going to get it during the next fight. You could maybe go for a little bit more spam damage onto them here to charge it sooner. Like I think if your mechanics were a little better here, you would have been able to like maybe ride around this side of that pillar while getting some spam onto the Orisa. You only need like a few shots, or at least a few headshots to charge it. Instead, you don't really get any charge there. So now they're engaging and you're still 5% away, where really, if you had it a little earlier, you would have been able to beat like now or just before now, and you'll rush speed boost, amp speed boost onto their team and win the fight. Like there's no way you're losing that. With Doom and Reaper charging into here with like 800 health, easy clap. And then you can follow up with Coalescence if you need. But instead we use Coalescence aggressively, Grillo dies, and then they get a valuable engage off here. I think you get a nice absorb onto him, so he doesn't get a huge value, but they still just get picks. And now we've beated a lost fight. Which even though we're kind of holding here and kind of delaying them, it's still not good to beat a lost fight really. Like we only really get 20% out of it. So I think you could have either beaten slightly earlier, or even better if you charged it sooner, than beat significantly earlier. And use it aggressively, like to engage, not always reactively. Or you just hold on to it, and then you come back with beat the next fight and win, because they've got like 1 or 2 ults. Whereas now in the next fight, they're going to have beat and we don't, which just makes it really hard. I would have liked, because they're... Oops. Oopsie daisy. Well, we're like 9 minutes in. I would have liked us to not take this normal path, because they're going to be... They're set up around here, right? Oops. They're going to be... They're going to be expecting us to come in this way. And their Reaper and their Doom and Lucio. Ball's going to come in and slam in a second. They're all expecting us to be here, right? So maybe if we run around the back like we did in the first fight. Turns out we could have engaged onto the Orisa and caught them all by surprise. But also it's just you're not playing along to the story that they want, right? Like they're expecting, their plan is, okay, they're going to run in here. We're going to surprise attack them from different angles, create chaos, get picks, and then just going to sustain out the fight and win. We shouldn't play along with that. We should run round the other way or do something unexpected in order to not just give them an easy win. I'm I'm not sure this shield gets super big value because they've just bongoed, so they're going to tear through it really easily. Maybe you want to hold on to shield and like run round through here and then use it like here or here, depending on where they are. Sometimes use your shield a little bit too early and it gives us less options on what we can do. That's a nice punch. But again, like this punch does the same thing I was suggesting we could have done earlier. It's just like engage onto the Orisa because she's separated. But that's a really good spot that you made that you could punch in sort of for free without getting punished. This bongo might have been unnecessary because we've just killed their Orisa, so there's not much we can focus down with a bongo. But they do just kill it anyway. And this nice cleanup from Grillo. This was really good wall riding to survive there. That was really nice. So we see they've got a Pharah. First thing I'd be thinking if I was you, Evil, is as they don't have a Mercy, you can use your Coalescence to focus the Pharah down. Or if you see a good opportunity where she can't get away from it. And also I like that we've chose to play inside here, because this is the best cover from the Pharah probably. It's nice that we're playing around here. That was a good decision. So you can see in this round, our positioning is totally carrying. Like the first fight, when we went all the way around here, and then engaged back round on them there, catch the Orisa off guard, and then get a free pull onto her. That basically won us the fight. And then our positioning, our decision to go through here, not let them get value, and then Rudy sees the Orisa is out of position. We kill her, win the fight. Good positioning. And now here our positioning is good again. This engage is a bit aggressive. I don't think, like, I'm not sure if it's necessary to go all the way around here. But it's good that you, like, committed to it, I guess. Like, I like that you all went in for it. And that's nice play with the barrier there, Lendario. You shouldn't have been able to win that 1v1, but you did, which was really good. That's all I've got. I don't know why it cut your VoD there, but yeah, that's it, guys. So the main things were, like I said, we rely a bit too much on individual playmaking and not enough on collaborative team play to win fights. That's something we should work on. I think we need to do a bit more work on understanding what a composition does and how it defeats other compositions. As often I've seen we don't really play to our strengths. Like, you're like, okay, we want to play double shield, we want to play the meta, but we don't really understand what it does necessarily and what it's good at, or if we do understand that, we're not really playing to fulfill its objectives. And the other thing is we might need a stronger voice in terms of having an in-game leader, because sometimes we lack like a real vision, and it seems sometimes we make decisions at random. Whereas in that last round, it felt like we had a more clear aim and more clear decisions being made. And I don't know if something changed there. It might be hard for you to remember because it's so fucking late me getting back to do this. But yeah. So I'm going to do a video about compositions and do some more VoD reviews, and hopefully we can carry on from there. But there's some really good stuff there and definitely a lot to work on. So I hope that's some benefit to you. If you have any follow-up questions, you can just @ me or ask me to come into voice chat. All right, I'll see you guys soon. Bye.